We have two students from Don't Eat the Pseudoscience, which is a group who uses video and social media to communicate science. And your representatives today are actually Matt and myself.
I can't believe we got them to come.
Right? It's our first official speaking gig, so bear with us. So go ahead and tell you about what we do with this group.
Yeah, so like John said, we are Don't Eat the Pseudoscience, and that's our logo that we recently had made. But we're going to start off with a little bit about who we are, starting with this video.
Maybe just introduce myself. Hi, I'm John.
My name is Kelsey. My name is Tamar. My name is Erica.
My name is Matt.
My name is Lindsay.
My name is Lily.
My name is Nicole.
My name is Laura, and I'm a food scientist.
I'm a food scientist. I'm a food scientist.
Food scientists apply basic sciences like chemistry and biology to food to make sure that our supply is safe,
wholesome,
Delicious and plentiful.
There is a lot that goes into getting your food from the farm to your plate.
And a food scientist is there almost every step of the way.
I research how to make higher quality frozen foods using less energy.
I research how fat affects the taste and flavor of your food.
I research how our bodies interact with different components of food.
For the past 8 years, I've been in the food industry working with flavors.
I researched on how to effectively communicate food safety messages to you that everyone else can know.
As food scientists, our job is to help feed the world.
Remember, don't eat the pseudoscience.
Don't eat the pseudoscience. Don't eat the pseudoscience.
Don't eat it.
Don't do it.
So that was our introductory video. We're actually a group of 10 students and young professionals from all over the country that met at the IFT Food Communicators Workshop. And just as a side note, that's the only support we've ever gotten from IFT. We're completely separate from them. But we were brought together by that workshop and decided to stay in touch afterwards to really start making videos and communicating science in a fun, relatable, and easy to understand way. And so as you might have seen, a lot of the video clips in that short video were really different quality and stuff like that, and that's because, like I said, we're from all across the country. Everyone's shooting video on whatever device they have. So just because you and your group members are not in one area doesn't mean that you can't collaborate and make really fun content.
So one of the main challenges we kind of came across in our training and with the Food Communicators Workshop is how do we become the friendly face of food science? This is my advisor, Dr. Heldman. I always make fun of him because he takes very stern pictures no matter what. I tried to find a smiling picture of him to put next to this to show that, but I couldn't find one. But he is actually the nicest person. He knows a lot about food science, and if you ever had a question about food science, food engineering, anything about that, he could tell you the answer. He'd be very clear, very thorough. You could take his class and learn everything you want to know about food science. Do we know who this is? This is Bani Hari, the food babe. So she looks very nice and approachable and talks about food in a way that people can understand. The problem is she tells lies and uses bad science to support her own products and try to sell them to you to save your life and reduce your cancer risk. So our challenge is how do we become that friendly face like the food babe? And so you can see we are all young students and we're so fun and accessible. Can't you relate to us? So really we're trying to show that we're trying to fill this space where for some reason the consumers don't really want to trust the Dr. Heldmans of the world, the professors who know the most about the science of food and agriculture, but they do trust the moms who have blogs. They trust all these people who don't necessarily have the background in the science, but for some reason, they're more accessible. Those are the faces people want to see. So we're trying to fill that niche and be the accessible group who also knows the facts.
And we try and relay those facts in an easy to understand way, but really, we have some guiding philosophy that we came up with as a group. So our philosophy kind of is like, we don't care what you eat. If you eat only organic products, that's fine. What we care is that your food is abundant, that it's safe, that it's accessible, tasty, and nutritious, and all of those have to be backed by science. So we consult the literature, we fact check ourselves, everything like that. We want to make sure that we're presenting the latest and greatest food research in an easy to understand way. And we actually got our start, so we had kept in contact after this workshop for a little bit and hadn't really thought about forming an official group. But a certain advertisement came out talking about additives in food and how you shouldn't be eating things that you can't pronounce. And this is a really popular restaurant chain that came out with this pretty inflammatory advertisement. And it really pissed a lot of us off because you know that's not a good reason not to eat something. There's plenty of other good reasons to choose not to eat something, but just because you can't pronounce an additive in that food is not a viable reason to restrict something from your diet. And the real lesson here is that all foods contain chemicals that are hard to pronounce. So we made our first video.
Dihydrolinol box. I can't speak.
2 pectinols. Pectinol. I'm going to practice these. Hi everybody! Today we're going to talk about chemicals and chemicals inside your food.
What's in a blueberry?
Methyl-free methylbutanoate.
2 heptanol.
Dihydroaluminum oxide.
6-methyl-5-heptanol.
Banana.
3-methylbutylpentanoate.
5-hydroxymethylfurfural.
3-methylbutanol.
Ethyl acetate.
Eggs. Dimethyltrisulfide.
2,5-dimethylpyrazine.
2-methylpropionitrile.
Pseudophenol.
Food is chemical by nature.
When you smell something, when you taste something, all those are chemicals.
Really did get last week.
So I want to talk a little bit about that video and why it was actually like pretty successful. So it was featured in the Washington Post. It was also featured in Online Athens, which is the online newspaper for Athens, Georgia. We were also featured in Can Science, which is the trade publication for the canning industry, and also Bark Blog, which is a food safety blog. So it actually got some decent press. And the reason why I think that it was so successful, it's like a kind of a fun video, and we can talk a little bit. I actually edited that one. We can talk a little bit about how it came to be. So we actually we formulated like a script, and like everyone read the script. And I cut and pasted different people saying different words, just to add some variety. But I think the saving grace of that was like the B-roll. So if you remember what Alana talked about, the B-roll is like extra footage that is kind of fun, not necessarily related to the subject at hand, but you can totally take a voiceover and play the B-roll video under it. So you still get the message across while having some like visual interest in the movie. So I think that was kind of the saving grace of that and the fun music. But it got a point across, right? It gets the point across that just because you can't pronounce something doesn't mean you shouldn't eat it. And that was exactly what we were trying to do.
Yeah, so what Matt started to touch on is kind of the behind the scenes of how do we do this, especially a group of 10 people all over the country. How do we physically do this and make these videos? So our first step is that we have regular communication. We were meeting about every other week over Google Hangouts, where we all just get on and have chats about what kind of videos we want to make, who's in charge of doing what kind of other activities we want to do, if we want to make stickers with our logo on it, that kind of stuff. So regular communication is really key in making sure that everyone is kind of being held accountable for helping out in different aspects of these videos. Number 2, no special video equipment. This is another thing Alana and I think Dr. Speck touched on. during our training is that you can shoot these on your iPhone or any phone. I mean, both of those videos where we had all 10 of us featured, we all just shot it on our phones and put the clips in a Dropbox, and then Matt took them and edited them in iMovie, which is number 3. No special editing software. You can just use iMovie. You can use the Windows Media Maker kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be fancy. We're not professional videographers here. We're just trying to get the message across, and you can do it pretty simply. Yeah, and you can see there's parts in our videos where people are looking down at their script trying to figure out how to pronounce this word. And Matt really utilized a lot of those bloopers to kind of even put the point across even more that it is hard for us to say those words even when we have it written in front of us. So it's really easy to make these kinds of videos. And then again, the internet is our friend. We use all online stuff just because we are spread out. We have to. So we share documents in Google Drive. We share files on Dropbox. We use Google Hangouts to communicate. I think one thing that we didn't include is kind of our process. So whenever we start a video, we start with a script. As Alana said, you start with a script. And we all write them in Google Drive documents so that we can all edit them and we all make sure that everything's right. And I think Matt will touch a little more on kind of what that entails a little more too. So yeah, definitely utilizing all these kind of mostly free resources to really engage the public and try to get these videos made and make sure they look good and they come across and show our message.
I would say 80% of the process, no matter what your situation is planning your videos, planning your shots. Shooting your video takes like not that much time. It goes into planning and editing. So really a lot of work.
Amen.
But we thought we'd share maybe our top 5 tips. This is actually a sneak peek for our newest video. But our first tip is obviously define your message, right? You don't want to start making a video with no clear message in mind. We've actually recently fallen victim to this. We wanted to make this video about toxins because everyone uses the word toxin, and we wanted to really define toxin and make sure people were okay with using that word appropriately. And the idea that we came up with did not really meet that.
We got all the way through editing and watched it and we're like, what are we saying here?
Yeah. And that was because we didn't define our message, and I also think we didn't define our audience. We were trying to speak to too many people. You really need to pick who you're trying to talk to. Are you trying to talk to fellow students? Are you trying to talk to the average consumer who has no formal food science education? Are you trying to talk to a foodie who knows a lot about food and how it tastes, but not about the science behind it? Really think about who you're trying to reach. Then check your work. Like John said, we watched our video after we edited it, and even we didn't really get the message, and there wasn't a clear audience, and so we had to really go back to the drawing board for that one. Number 4 would be to test your video. So reach out to someone who is in your target audience. We actually reach out a lot to some media professionals who aren't food scientists but have at least expertise in watching videos, and they give us really good feedback. But I could just as easily show it to my mom, and she would give me feedback as well. And then the last thing is to post it everywhere. We post ours on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But really, Facebook gets a lot of views now for videos, and it's really well integrated into the timeline. And then YouTube is nice in case someone were to pick up the video, then that's easily more integrated onto their websites. So post it everywhere. The more publicity you can get for it, show it off. You put a lot of work into this. Be proud of your work.
Sometimes Kelly will retweet us, so everyone can see it who follows Ohio State. It's great.
So that's kind of just a little bit of background on us and a little bit of background on movie making. Our perspective, again, total amateurs, we're scientists, we don't do this for a living. But please reach out to us. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter at Don't Eat Pseudo, and we're also on YouTube at Don't